Hey, everybody. Welcome to Improv FAQ at Length. This is a series of longer conversations about improv topics that have lots of questions surrounding them. And today we are joined by Chris Moody. Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Hi, everyone. Hi, James.
Hey.
Hi,
What's up,
Thanks
buddy?
for joining us.
Good to see
And
ya.
we're going to talk about Gilda's Club, which is a very cool organization that Chris does, among many things that Chris does, is very involved with the work at Gilda's Club. And there's a special event, an annual event coming up that is usually Gilda's Big Night Out. And this year it's going to be Gilda's Big Night In. And so we're very excited to talk to you to see what we can do to help promote that event and make it as successful as possible. So thanks for coming to talk to us.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an annual event that they do, usually downtown at the Max Fisher Theater. And obviously, because of what's going on, they decided to make it a 3-week event. It's an online event. And the show that we're doing, the final night on the 30th, is the last night of the Gildas Big Night In. We were asked, we usually do an improv show at Gildas Club 2 or 3 times a year, usually around the Detroit Improv Festival or the Detroit Women's Festival. But we were asked to do this, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a combination of participation games for some of the Gildas members that have been unable to get to the clubhouse for 5-6 weeks now. We're going to do that. We have some very special guests that will be joining us as well. Folks that have come to Gildas and performed during the festivals, and others that haven't been able to and now are able to. So,
one of the of all the stuff that sucks about what's going on, there's a pretty cool side effect that on the positive end, people are able to connect and find an excuse to reach long distance. I mean, really, like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So for people who don't know, Chris, can you just give us a quick lowdown on what Gilda's Club is and the kind of work that goes on there?
Sure. Started with obviously Gilda Radner, who went to the University of Michigan, Second City Chicago, Second City Toronto, and obviously on to SNL. But when she was at the University of Michigan, performed improv, was in some of the major groups there. And then when she got her diagnosis, she really wanted a place for people to go for support. So Gilda's Club evolved from that. They have chapters in mostly all the major cities. Recently, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, some of them converted to cancer support centers. And they have those around the country and around North America and probably in other countries that do some great work. So nobody has to go through this alone. So it's anybody that is going through treatment, it's open to them. It's open to their families. They have activities that run support groups. They have lectures and groups that came about. And back in 2013, we approached through the Detroit Improv Festival and DICO, the Detroit Improv Collective, to come in and teach improv workshops because they had been done in a couple other places, but it just seemed like a natural fit with Gilda being from Michigan and the improv background. And we've been doing it ever since. Back in this past March, it was our 7th year teaching 3 times a month. We bring in improv groups to come in, perform with them and for the members, and then we have workshops that teach them different skills and it's an hour and a half each time of just having fun and forgetting about what the members are going through, some of the challenges that they have. And we have a great core group that comes every single time. And, during this time, it's extremely difficult not being able to connect with them. And some of them just aren't able to connect through the methods that we're doing right now. So we're reaching out to the core members to give them a method of tuning in and reconnecting with the other members of the group.
Yeah, it's a really great organization. Every time that I've been able to be involved and be part of like the DIF events or anything at all, it's just such a wonderful, supportive environment and a rewarding experience to be part of. So with this event coming up, what can you give us just the details on all of that, what people need to know about it, and for anybody who can get involved and support, how they might be able to do that?
Sure. Well, you can log on to Detroit Gildas Club Royal Oak or Gildas Club Metro Detroit, their website, and you can donate through that website. They have a schedule of events that are happening, but for our event specifically, they can go on and you can either, we'll have a link on their website and their Facebook page, but you can go on and watch if you want. We're going to be hooking it up through Facebook Live, I believe. If you just wanted to watch, and then if you wanted to participate, there'll be a those ever popular Zoom logons for anybody to come on.
Yeah.
We'll have improvisers from around North America that are going to be joining us to participate with and for the members. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're working on some big names that you may have seen on television, film, and even, I guess, television as well.
To keep it vague and enticing.
I know. We were kind enough to be connected with Jennifer Wilson from WXYZ. She teaches improv out in Macomb. She went through the program at Second City when it was here in Detroit, and you probably recognize her from the news. She reached out to Gildas Club and wanted to help, and we got connected with Jennifer, and we're working at this entire program. So you'll see her on board and hosting and possibly participating in some of the improv games.
Cool. That's
That's
awesome.
incredible. That's so cool.
Okay,
Yeah,
so all that's taking place on the 30th and live streaming
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Okay.
Yep.
Leading up to that point, is there like a hashtag or any kind of like sharing that people can do to just generate awareness of the event, get people's attention on it, or contribute and donate between now and then?
Yeah, we have a meeting on Thursday, so tomorrow night, I don't know when this is actually going to air, but Thursday the 23rd, we're getting together, working at a promotional video. We'll have all the details on how to log on and how to promote it as well.
Okay, cool.
It's
Awesome.
most likely through their Facebook page and through their website.
Okay, awesome.
Chris, are they still doing the auctions, or have those closed?
I believe they're still open. I know a few of them have been closed out right now, but I think they introduced a couple different ones throughout the time. That's
Because they got some really great prizes going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's fun things that you can bid on. There's also things that you can kind of like raffles that you can get a chance to win. I don't know when the drawings are, but they have a virtual program that they have online that lists when everything's being drawn.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, we're recording this on Wednesday, the 22nd. We're going to try to get this up as quickly as possible to give as much time to promote and give people a chance to support. So beyond that, if people want to get involved, are there volunteer opportunities throughout the year that people can look for and participate in?
Yep. The workshops that we do are open to anyone. You can come in, you can RSVP through the phone number, and they can register you to come in and participate. But Gildas Club is open to anyone with our workshops. We do them usually the first and second Monday of the month and the third Thursday. They do change around sometimes with holidays and things like that, but they're all inside the calendar. Once the programming starts up again, to be able to go back into the clubhouse. The clubhouse is located just north of 13 Mile on Rochester Road.
Yes.
Just north of downtown.
Cool. Yeah, obviously, once we're back to any kind of normalcy of going out. But you said that there's, for anybody that is not in the Detroit area and elsewhere, Nicole Pascaretta is involved on the board for the New York branch. And you said that, I didn't realize that there was a branch in most major cities.
Mostly, yeah. I think a lot of them are known as the Cancer Support Group, if I'm not mistaken. Some of them changed over.
Okay, so it's kind of like an affiliate or a just a alternate name.
Yep.
Gotcha.
But most of them, like New York City, Chicago, Toronto, a lot of those are still Gildas Club, and they're very recognizable.
Cool. And then because Bob, I know for Snow Day, I feel like Gilda's Club is something that the Detroit Improv community
Yeah.
hears a lot about because it tends to be attached to things like Snow Day, the annual 26-hour marathon
Yep.
at Go, and some other things. Yeah, what's
Well-
how go ahead, Bob.
Oh no, what were you gonna ask? How long we've been?
Yeah. I was
connected?
first of all, Snow Day is a 26-hour marathon, and
Yes.
how long has that been running now? You guys, next January will be on what year?
Our 14th year is coming up in January. So yeah, 14 years. We've only been doing the 26-hour thing for about 6 years now, and that's about around the time we started working with Gilda. Because just obvious match. An improviser who is a goddess among improvisers, started this great group. And when we started Snow Day, we wanted to make sure if we were raising money, we were going to donate to a cause that can do good. And if you ever have the chance, like we all three of us talked about, visiting one of these Gilda houses, it's amazing. The staff there are so friendly and supportive, and anybody who's ever had to deal with cancer, which most of us have, it's such a shitty thing. To have that support is important. If we would learn anything now, like in what we're dealing with, like having a distraction when you're stressed out, or entertainment, or just someone there to listen to you, it's really important. So it feels good to like help them do what they do, because what they do is incredible.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, their basement that they have at Gilda's Club is amazing. It's a mural over the entire basement called Noogie Land. It's for the children that come in. They have a whole setup downstairs. But they had a flood during the winter about maybe 5 years ago that completely destroyed almost half the house. It came down through the center, and half the house had to be gutted. And the brunt of it was the basement area. Things were completely flooded. And the artist that did the mural downstairs, and it's worth going down there if you're in the area, was completely done over in a matter of weeks. I don't remember the name of the artist, but it's amazing down there. It's just from sealing the floor, it's just completely covered with
Gotcha.
great
So
murals.
it's repaired now?
Completely
With a new mural?
repaired, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Chris, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people get involved from all over the country in your network. Like you said, for the Gilda's Big Night Out or Big Night In.
Mm-hmm.
Special guests get involved. Are there any like favorite stories from past years, whether for this annual event or any other Gilda story that you want to share?
Yeah, we a few years ago, when the entertainers come to town for the Detroit Improv Festival, we'll reach out and see if you're coming in, because we normally do it on that Thursday prior to the festival, just because a lot of them do come in a few days early before the festival starts, and they have a little bit more availability. But Rob Belushi came in with I can't remember who he came in with a couple years ago, but I put out word to him and asked him, hey, if you're available on Thursday, and before I even asked the question, he's like, I'm there. I have a special connection to the place. I'm coming in. And he did like a 20-minute set with his scene partner that was just phenomenal. So we're trying to get him back to come back for this event with his schedule and everything. If we're not able to get him live, we'll have him record an improv set with one of his improv partners. He's so awesome. He's so giving, and he stayed around afterwards and talked to all the members, because we don't sell tickets, obviously, but it was completely full inside the clubhouse for the event, and all they wanted to do was talk about Rob Belushi, which is really cool.
Yeah, I remember that, and they had such a fun show. They engaged everybody in like the fullest way possible, and it was really just they did an awesome job. And it's always very cool to see people give their time that way to spread some joy for a good cause.
Yeah.
So okay, we will make sure that we include all the links and information that we talked about here in the body in the description for this video. But since you bring that up, I just want to kind of talk a little bit more about the things that you're involved with, Chris, because you travel a lot for work, and you have a wide network and a lot of resources, and you do nothing but really generous things with those resources. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the other things that you do on top of the great work that you do with Gildas, because you, correct me if I'm wrong, you started the Detroit Improv Collective, which is the organization that runs DIF, correct?
Yeah, with PJ Cokes and Jacqueline Cherry and Keith Fagan and who am I leaving out? Michelle Leroy. And yeah, it was back in 2011 or so. We wanted to do something special, and that was the first year that we did a festival here and put it all together, and was able to form the Detroit Improv Collective, which is a nonprofit that benefits improvisers and theaters and around the Metro Detroit area, and gives them an outlet. And that's how we started with Gildas Club, was through that, to have one nonprofit benefit another one. So yeah, it's a great thing. And I know they work with Snow Day and teaching workshops and getting involved with some of the members are getting involved with the Detroit Creativity Project. So there's a real nice improv network throughout the city that it really didn't, I know improv existed in the city, but the amount of theaters that are now active, and the resources and the stage time, and we have Pointless out in Ann Arbor, and Go Comedy, and Planet Ant, and Comedy Sports, and the list goes on. And it back in the early 2010, 2011, it was really just Go Comedy and Planet Ant that was really active at that time. So it was nice to kind of get everything and have that annual event to bring improvisers in. Students were going through the program at the theaters, and we wanted to bring the improv to the city, to Detroit, to see what else is out there. To see the different forums, and to see the famous people that would come in, and be able to connect with them over the weekend, and just have a celebration of Detroit's improv over the years.
Yeah, and I just remember thinking how cool it was that you really. I know that it takes many people to make a success out of something like an improv festival, but I just remember you very humbly leading the charge to create something like that, and I think that's one of a very great quality about you as well, is that you don't jump to take credit for everything. But I figured I'll give you a nod while we're having the conversation that.
Thanks, James.
You did really lead that charge, and then in addition to that, you are heavily involved in the Camp Improv Utopia with Nick Armstrong and company. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do with that camp?
Yeah, it was around the same time that the Detroit Improv Festival started. There was a camp out in Cambria, California called Improv Utopia started. And at the time, it was just the one camp. I believe their first year was 2011. And I was introduced to Nick Armstrong through that camp, and invited him to come out to the first Detroit Improv Festival, just to promote the camp, but also to meet the improvisers from around the country. Improv Utopia is a nonprofit based out of California. A few years after we met, Nick asked me to help produce the Improv Utopia East, which is based up in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. And since then, we've introduced Camp Improv Utopia Yosemite and Yosemite National Park, as well as Improv Utopia Ireland, which unfortunately we weren't able to do this year. It was supposed to take place this past weekend. So there's it's a great organization, a great board of directors that work really hard to not only produce the camps, but also to take care of improv theaters around the world, actually. If you look at their website, improvutopia.com, you can see the amount of resources that the board has put out to help theaters to, donate to a stage being built in a new build, or if a theater is suffering, to be able to give them a boost, an incentive boost to do that. So this year, because two of our camps were unable to happen, we've focused to donate more money to our theaters to kind of do what we do. We do it through our logo wear that we have. We do it through just donations and the generosity of different improvisers and different improv theaters. So it's a fantastic organization. Our next camp that's supposed to take place is east up in the Poconos over Labor Day. And then we have Yosemite towards the end of September. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're able to do those. But if not, I mean, we'll roll with it. We're improvisers. We'll do what's best for the situation.
Yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to go to one of these camps yet. But anytime they happen and then everybody comes back, I get so jealous because it sounds incredible, man. Every time Michelle Giolando comes back, she's a whole new person. She's so happy. Like, oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds wonderful. And Nick's such a great dude too. So it's what you guys are doing is fantastic.
Yeah. Julia and I have had the chance to go to the East Camp in the past, and I even just once going to camp gave me, lasting friends that like either moving to New York or anytime that I'm in a city. Being able to spend time in a retreat setting with, improvisers who are like, that much into it to take time to do a camp. Those are bonds that last. And, that's just from going 1 year. So the people who are going repeat years, I know that it's such it's a national, but now global community that stays really well connected throughout the year. And, I see the stuff that Nick's putting out there to get people, informed on what the camps are able to do or not able to do based on, the current restrictions and everything, and also pledging to help the community with whatever they can do that they're going to give back to the greater improv community, and that's a very, very cool thing. Yeah. So let me just pick your brain real quick, Chris, because I just think it's there's like personality types that just kind of naturally do the things they do and seem to have like a superpower for, X thing. And your superpower seems to be a connector and have a network. And so I'm just kind of curious, like when you travel for work or like, are you constantly just like incidentally bringing people together or making people connected, or like, are you always kind of like on a mission of, do you like kind of make a game out of making connections to people?
I don't know. I don't think I was always like this. I mean, growing up, I was, more introverted than anything, and talking with people a lot of times scared the heck out of me. But improv was definitely, the base of, reaching out and being supportive and breaking out of your shell and stuff. It just, meeting the people that shared the same, likes and dislikes and support was really cool. When I first started doing it, and most of my work, I produced manufacturing trade shows. So I was traveling to the major cities, the LAs, the Chicagos, the Las Vegas, where there was an improv scene. And I would just go see a show. Maybe there was a friend of a friend that was performing, and just kind of get to know who they were. And it's really nice. Like Toronto, I seem to have like a really nice connection up there because I was always up there 2 times a year for 2 weeks at a time. So I went to see a Second City show right when I first started doing improv. And on my way home, which the hotel was a block away from the theater, I went back to the hotel. I came back out and I recognized 2 of the performers. And I, hey, great job. And they said, where are you going? And I said, I'm just to the grocery store to get some food, and they said, "Well, come with us. We're going to a place called the Charlatan Club, which was like the the actors hangout." And I met so many people just that one night, and all it took was just a simple invite. That, you know, from then on, that's where I met Ken Hall and Isaac Kessler, was that night, and I would never have, you know, formed the bond that I did up there. And just from then, you know, knowing those two, just got, you know, I wound up meeting so many different people. So it was always cool going back up to Toronto for work, because I knew that not only would I see familiar people and you know, hang out with them, but also get the opportunity to perform up there as well, which is always cool, because one of my favorite things is improvising with people I've never improvised with, and just, you know, rolling with it and meeting people that way. So that was cool. LA, Chicago, I'm not the most outgoing person, but when someone knows me and I'm able to, you know, talk and spend time with them, it kind of opens things up, and being, you know, likable, and meeting the different people where I go. It's always like returning to a vacation home, I guess, and getting to see everyone again. So yeah, it's been, my job has canceled 3 shows so far this year. So I missed out on a trip. I went to Fort Worth for a little bit, and then the 2 other shows just wound up being canceled this spring. So not traveling as much, probably won't be traveling for some time, but you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's still the way that you're able to, you know, meet people when you have traveled in the past, just makes you that much more able to stay connected now.
Yeah. What was the Malcolm Gladwell book that he wrote that had the 3 types of people? Connectors and.
Oh yeah. No,
I read the book a while ago. I don't remember it.
But yeah, so I mean, is it because the improv community in general is kind of just like your flock of people, or do you think was it starting to do improv that made you more social, or like both, that gave you those kind of connections?
I think so. I mean, I you know, both know that I was a cruise director for 9 years, and I had, you know, I was out on stage and talked to people, but there's a difference between talking to people and connecting with people, because a lot of times I just wanted to go back to my room after going on stage, because being in those types of situations were not ideal. But when you're with improvisers, they want to see you succeed. They want to, you know, see you do well. So being surrounded by them and getting the feedback and you know, just being around them really matters.
But I also remember, like, when you first got started, because you know, it's that thing, like when Go first got started, I was introduced to so many people because of when the training center opened. And I think you started pretty early, because I remember you were really great at starting all these social events. Like we would have barbecues, or, you know, improv night at your house on Tuesdays and stuff like that. So I think you're just a natural, like, networker, and as far as that was concerned, you know.
Yeah, and it was, you know, I moved here to Michigan in 2004. So I left behind friends at home, friends from college, friends on the ships. So when I came out here, I really only knew my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. So those first 5 years, it was really just coworkers who I knew. And then when I lost my job and my wife lost her job a couple days later in 2008, I had to do something different, because I didn't know anyone. I couldn't network. I joined a few professional organizations, but what really got me through that time was improv. Go Comedy had just opened up. I was in, I think, their second round of classes at the time. So getting to know everyone through Go Comedy was a lifesaver, because it was some, you know, this time right now is bad, but that time when it was more, you know, on your own. I've only been here for 5 years, 4 years. What am I going to do next? I was, Bev and I were both thinking, do we move back to Pennsylvania? I'm from Pennsylvania. Do we move back there? Because Bev is from this area. We didn't want to move away from her family. So a lot of things were in flux. And luckily, I landed in a great spot when I did. But it was improv that you look forward to it. I'm a type of person that I think I enjoy the lead up to something more than the actual event itself, because I feel like when I'm doing something, when I'm in charge of something or running something, I don't think I enjoy it as much as the anticipation of it actually happening. So having a workshop or a class show or something else popping up, it was a nice alternative to the daily job hunting and stressing out over what's going on. So yeah, that was an interesting time in my life. And I've told the owners, PJ, Chris, Tommy, Gerald, that Go Comedy, I thank them so much for being there at the time.
Yeah, I know that. I know a lot of people have that story too. I mean, I'm one of them. It's like I'd be in a much different place in my life if I had never come across Go and had that support from the improv community and positivity and find my people to really thrive around. So I and it's also, it reminds me that like I am somebody who loves the talk improv shop. I love the nerd and the trivial talk of forms and games and just getting into like the nitty gritty of all the improv-dom. And I just feel so fortunate to be around people like you, Chris, and you, Bob, who are also making sure that those positive tools of community that can really help people in much different ways than just the nerddom of improv, that we pay attention to that too and attend to that. So thanks for being that role, Chris.
Yeah, and I mean, I came into improv when I was 39 years old. So I look back now, like what type of groups would welcome a 39-year-old to come in and treat him as a peer? And I never felt, and still don't feel, until I turn 50 in May, feel like I'm old and get off my yard, kind of,
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, because I've thought about this a few times. I think I just had a talk with PJ about this because we both just had our birthdays. That I forget how like the age difference between people are. Peterson just had his birthday and everything like that, and I always, because me and him do a lot of two-mans, and I forget he's a couple years older than me. Because it doesn't matter. We're all talking improv. We're all on, we all have this thing that connects us. I love that about the community, That and the other things like the support, like you guys are talking about, and the things that make us different, make us interesting, and how we can even though we come from different backgrounds or different religious views or we do different jobs, we all have this thing, and it doesn't really matter about the petty stuff that people sometimes put in the way of having these connections.
Yeah. And it's funny too, like finding out like with the League of Pointless Improvisers, what everybody else does with their life outside of improv. It's like, so you're a lawyer? Oh, I would never have known that. It's like, you don't know those things until you actually talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for talking with us, Chris.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Best wishes for the most successful Gildas Big Night In, and we'll do what we can to help support, and let us know if you said you're meeting tomorrow, which would be Thursday. And so let us know what else we can do to help out.
Will do. Thank you so much. Well, hopefully you'll be able to join us virtually. And if there's any improvisers that are watching this prior to the show, there will be a link for you to jump in and participate, and we'd highly encourage. And that goes for the
Yes.
workshops at Gildas Club as well. It's open to all improvisers. Any level of experience is welcome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'll be there virtually on the 30th.
Yay.
So I'm looking forward to it.
I don't got to work in the morning. I'll be there.
Cool. Well, thanks again, Chris.
Thank you so much,
and
Chris.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
to see you, bud.
Thanks, everyone.
Stay well, stay safe, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds great.
All right.